name is Seda Röder, and this is me, the mini-me in 1990. I was 9 years old back then. That information does not leave this room, although you're recording. And you know, my career started kind of like this beautiful, peaceful piece of music. I am Turkish myself, so I come from a very chaotic country. And I was accepted in a state-funded program. It was like a child prodigy class. Everything was being kind of funded. And it looked like I would have a very predictable, steady, you know, nicely laid out career. At times, slightly exciting, but nothing too much, too little. But of course, you know, when you grow up, you come to this stage and you start asking yourself, well, is this it? Is this everything? Is this what I'm built for? Is this what I'm going to be doing? And in my case, I kind of started the self-search. You know, everybody kind of goes through that process, right? Who else is born in late 70s, early 80s? Ah, okay, so some hands. So you guys know what I probably mean. I think our generation went through this immense change, constant change, from having no mobile phones to having plenty of them, from having no personal computers to having millions of computers, from having no internet to having internet as like a common instrument. And again, in my case, sorry, I'm still pushing the wrong, so it needs some time. From having a solid recorded music industry to having almost none. So our generation kind of learned it the hard way that the change would be inevitable. We've seen gigantic companies come and go in like daily basis. And this shows us actually, I love this correlation, this example of the music industry, because it shows us that even if you're offering the right product, I mean, everybody loves music, right? If you just fail to adapt, then stuff gets really tight. So I love this quote by Will Rogers, where he says, you know, even if you're on the right track, if you fail to adapt, if you just sit there, you'll eventually get run over by a train. As I've said, so our generation learned this the hard way. And so now we live in this age of technological abundance. And, you know, everything looks like we can reach it within a millisecond. People can connect with remote areas in the world. We can build communities. We can build products. The real question in the room is, what do we want to do, right? What is it that we would like to do? The big elephant. And when you ask this question, honestly, then you realize that it has nothing to do with technology, the answer. The only limitation to answering this question is us. It's our imaginary and creative capability. So, what kind of future do we want to build? And, you know, when we think about dreaming, when we think about how far our imagination can reach, sometimes it really honestly happens that we don't dream too much, but more like adapt our dreams to systems we already know, rather than adapting the systems to fit our needs. So I think we need to really start talking creativity at this age. We need to start thinking about what do we have to do in order to gather those communities together, in order to make real collective advancement. What is the one driving force behind all innovation? And that is actually the human creativity. That is our imagination. That is our capability to dream. And when it comes to creativity, it's kind of understandable because it's it's like this picture, it's an elusive term. It's hard to grasp. It's kind of difficult to measure. But let's remember, once again, it's never the products nor the business models that are innovative or disruptive. It's the minds of the people. It's our creativity that makes those products. It's our faculty to be able to build and, imagine stuff. And so now we live in this age of, true, how do you say it? True idea of we have to save every single resource, but when it comes to human creativity, the one and only really, truly important resource, we do a quite shitty job, in my opinion. And in my work in the realm of creativity and creative leadership, I came across a couple of very interesting prejudices or walls or, myths when talking about creativity. And it was quite interesting, actually, to find out, because some people think that creativity is something that has to do with a divine, inspiration. That's something otherworldly, something that's, that comes from whatever place. And others who claim to be more rational, they say it has to do with the genes. It's the DNA, it's what you bring with you. But in both of those cases, the interesting thing is to figure, it's really striking, that in both cases you take the human control out of this equation. If you say it's from the other worlds, it's from the genes, it's like there is nothing you can do about it. You either have it or not. And another prejudice I came across, or this myth, is almost everyone at some point connects creativity to artistic activity. So it always has to do something with music, with building a sculpture, with designing something, etc. But you understand me. It's very, very problematic to reduce creativity to artistic performance only. Our creativity is what got us out of our caves. It is the thing that brought us to the moon. And especially in this age of the emergence of creative AI and algorithms, if we reduce creativity to artistic activity only, will make it very soon very obsolete. Computers can take over that job, and they are doing it so already. So what do we need to do? We have to ask that question once again, what do we want to do? And on the one hand, we now have the technological abundance, especially in our Western world. On the other hand, we understand the importance of asking the question of where to, what are we going to do? And what we need right now in this point are leaders who are keen in asking those questions, who are not afraid of sharing power, who can build communities, who can create some sort of massive parallel creativity, if you wish, to move faster forward and not only look in what we are doing, but also take our peers with us. And when I was working with and encountering those creative leaders, I came across 4 interesting but fundamental leadership traits. And the number 1 was really, truly, in every single case, they fundamentally think that everybody is capable of creativity. Every single person. If you have ever some challenge in your life, you had to solve a problem with your potential, then you immediately know what I mean. So they believe in creativity in everyone and give the people the possibility to grow on their things. What I mean by that is creativity happens in the brain, and brain works like a muscle. So the more you work it, the better you will come. And we really have to put this idea of creative thinking in the center of our human beings, of our humanistic being in the upcoming age of self-actualization of the individual. So that is going to be the driving force in this age of endless possibilities. So creativity has nothing to do with the genes. It is also not a one-time coincidental divine inspiration. On the contrary, it's something that you can actually, it's like a mental exercise. So, as I said, the more you work it, the better you will become at it. And if you choose to put your powers also into something that constitutes your strengths, then we grow and thrive even faster, rather than trying to, polish and be better in our deficits all the time. So it's actually something that keeps people more back. Now, you might have a different view on this, but I think Elon Musk is a quite good example, because he's someone who really says and claims and walks the talk in terms of believing in creativity in every single person in his organization. He says, all of these people went through this process and they came into my company because I know that they're capable of contributing to something spectacular. And yes, he's a very demanding leader and very hardcore, but still he gets a lot of very positive reviews for his companies from his employees, especially when it comes to possibilities of expanding your knowledge and growing. So probably you read parts of this. The other thing is, look outside of your discipline and play. So this is the point where I'm going to go back to my piano, because it says play. So the epic US designer Ralph Osterhout, who owns more than, I think, 200 wearable high-performance electronics and AR patents, says every now and then he goes to a kiosk and buys some random magazines. And I was just searching the internet, so these are not the magazines necessarily he's buying, but I was kind of really surprised. I mean, there is a Ghost Hunters magazine. Did you know that? and pop culture, like the hairdressers magazine for dogs, and Yo-Yo magazine. So, this shows us that there are things out there that are totally outside of our bubble, but people care about them so much that they sell magazines in regular kiosks. So you have to have like at least 20,000 printed editions to be able to go to a kiosk. So it does matter. And this is a very cheap way of, also broadening your horizon. You don't have to travel to some place. Just get these magazines to get the fresh perspective of what's moving the people, what interests them, what kind of issues are they sharing, what are their problems. In my case, looking outside of the discipline was going into my kind of also child's room, but with new eyes. Have you ever seen a child engage in play? It's like the most insane thing on earth. Did you know that the humans are the only mammals who stop playing after having reached an adult age? Yeah, it's insane. And also, we play, after having reached this adult age, we start playing only games of which the outcome we can foresee. What's the sense in that, right? Yeah, so we just have so much fear of failing. And so in my case, as I've said, I was looking at how my child was playing, and she started every game with this question of, what if? What if I take this and make it to that? Every single object is flexible. You just concentrate on the very essence of that object, and you can make it to something new, right? And the answer to that question, if you said no, would be, why not? So I'm going to take this and do it to that. And you say no, and the child says, why not? This is just a game. So I said, you know, there is some truth in that. And I have hidden some things here. So in my case, I went to the kitchen, because that's a place where mothers can be found very easily. Right? And I decided, you know, this is a baking form. This is a tambourine, comes from a drum shop. And then I went to the post office, and when I was there, I saw this thing called Patafix. Do you know what that is? It's something with which you can put your pictures on the wall and then can take them down without residue. So it looks like this. Okay? And last but not least, I had a friend who played the guitar, and he showed me this. Do you know what this is? An e-bow. And so I said, what if?
Nothing can hurt me. Nothing can break. My mind is wide open to repair all failure. Nothing can catch me. Nothing can hold. My ears are wide open to hear the unheard.
you. So now my fans call me the piano hacker. I might be the only person who hacks an analog instrument with analog means. I don't know. Yeah, so this was my journey. But before finishing, I would like to tell you, of course, the other two. Take your time. You know, the only thing we can't scale is our attention. Anything else looks doable, but the time we have, you know, in every single day is very limited. And the usual state of mind is chaos. So we really have to be very insistent about taking our time for active thinking. Nothing, no breakthrough happens overnight. There is no divine spark. So we really have to sit down, claim our alone time, concentrate. Some people do walks, some people go into nature, some people go swimming, take a nap. Find your daily thinking time ritual and really claim it. It's yours. And last but absolutely not least, surround yourself with other visionary leaders. That is super, super crucial. And that's also why I started Sonophilia. This is how I know Masha and Trent. When you surround yourself with those people from different disciplines, interesting things start occurring. Those analogies we referred to can now be actively spoken about, and you start creating things that you wouldn't believe that could happen in such a short time. So it's really, really important. And I think this place today is amazing, because when you look at your right, look at your left, do you all know each other already? Yeah? Yeah, look at your right, look at your left, say hi to all of those people, because I think this room today is a perfect place to start. Perfect, yes? You know, you have all those visionary leaders in this room, and on this note, I feel so privileged to be here to have the chance to talk to you. My clicker is not working. Yeah, now it's working. So I would like to say very officially, thank you so much for taking your time, and I'm looking forward to our conversations. Thanks.
Thank you, Seda. The piano hacker, and what you can do with a piano, maybe we can do with our brains or society. I think it's all about focusing on the essence of a problem, really deep diving into the primitives of a potential solution. If there are any questions, and I can believe there are many, for Seda, now is a perfect time.
Now give it to me. Yeah.
Thank you very much for the talk, the
you.
song, and also your beautiful interpretation of Bach. I like it better than Glenn Gould.
Oh,
So your talk really reminds me of one thing that Richard Feynman said about imagination, and also it's not genes, but also training. Reminds me of the book "Talent is Overrated." Mm-hmm. So probably these two things make me sound like I'm a pragmatic person, which I am, and therefore I would like to ask: are there any tips or like tiny exercises that you probably do or you think might help us to keep our creativity, given that I think a lot of people sitting here are really busy and might just have 10 minutes, 20 minutes a day to reflect and
I think my 4 points were kind of a concise version of those things. So one of the things is, what I really like doing is take an object, a daily object, doesn't matter what that is, and try to describe it in totally unrelated terms. For instance, take a fork and think about your problems with a fork. Did you ever realize that there are many problems when you use a fork? Seriously, so try to catch an olive with a fork. Have fun. Especially if it's not really sharp in the front. So it's like a, you make the olive very tired and someone else comes and gets it in the end. So also if you're trying to, for instance, eat something that falls easily off the fork, so I think about how can we make it better? That's funny, and that can also be a very interesting conversation topic in your dinner party, you know, these kinds of things. But very important, really take the time to concentrate, take the time to reflect on what you have seen, and don't take everything, you know, as breaking news, but the only breaking news is you. Yeah. Hey.
Thank you very much.
Wait a
Thank
second. Your voice must be heard.
Thank you very much for that presentation. And,
Thank you.
And as someone who's new to exploring this area of technology, and it's really good to hear someone actually focus on creativity. So I have a question for you. Do you think that artificial intelligence is going to evolve to a point where it can emulate or simulate human creativity? Or do you think that if we continue to explore and develop our own creative skills, that we will always be able to come upon surprising ways of thinking and interpreting the world?
You know, my optimistic view goes, of course, with the second
Yes.
option. And I do truly believe that when it comes to human potential, we're doing a horrible job. Who in this room would consider themselves to be living 100% of your potential? Hey, I want to get to know you, man. Yeah. So, see, we're just at the very, very tip of the iceberg of what is possible with our brains, what we can achieve. And it's an incredible organ. The more you do with it, it's a plastic organ. So it never stops learning until we die. And I think we can scale human creativity, the power of imagination, the power of structuring a future, with the help of technology. So I do not think that technology is going to make creativity obsolete unless, as I've said in my talk, we reduce creativity to certain performative activities only. Then it can be very problematic, of course. But I think...
So you're talking about the use of technology to augment human
Absolutely.
creativity.
Absolutely.
And so I can sort of see that. And neuroplasticity in that field is growing, but we understand maybe less than 10% of how our brains actually function at the moment. So, so you are optimistic.
I would choose to be so, yes.
Could I ask the room here, who's in that camp, or who thinks that artificial intelligence will eventually succeed, replace?
Our imaginative power? Artificial intelligence. Oh, wow. Yeah, cool. So let's talk about this, guys.
Wow.
Yeah, amazing. Huh?
Now, I mean, there are 10 people, so beware of those.
But it's all about how you design it, huh? Yeah. You have to be very thoughtful in training as well.
Awesome.
So, thank you so much, Seda.
Thank you.
It was
Thanks.
really refreshing.